Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another Bring It Back. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that were canceled and or short-lived that I would like to see get brought back in some shape or form. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the CW series DC Stargirl. Really quickly, if you're unfamiliar with DC Stargirl is, it is a show based on a character from the DC Comics. Courtney Whitmore basically ends up discovering her stepdad, Pat, used to be the sidekick to Starman and kept Starman's cosmic staff after him and the Justice Society of America. All of them were killed 10 years prior against the ISA, the Injustice Society of America. Well, the staff ends up choosing Courtney, and she uses this as an opportunity to become the superhero Stargirl. She in turn ends up recruiting other people along the way to kind of fill the roles and kind of become the next generation of some of the heroes that were in the original JSA, as a Wildcat, Hourman, and Dr. Midnight, kind of having her respective friends fill that role and working alongside her stepdad Pat as they challenge the ISA, trying to find out what they're up against, what they're doing, and how to stop them. So obviously the show kind of expands beyond that, and I think this is kind of an interesting thing that I've kind of noticed, especially this most recent season being season 3, is that the show kind of like changes genres a little bit. Yes, it keeps the motif of a superhero show, but like obviously the first season was very much about finding your place and rising to the occasion of becoming a hero. The second season had almost like this psychological element to it with the villain that they were dealing with. And this third season is, little spoilers, but not really. It's a murder mystery. So I think it's kind of a really neat thing that the show has done. But it's very like hope-filled show that even when the going gets tough, you have to stand tall. You have to keep hope alive, and that's what Courtney kind of represents, this optimism with just everything kind of thrown her way and just finding a way to stand up and keep fighting. So kind of her relationship, not with just being a superhero, but obviously relationship with her stepdad, her team, her mom, her stepbrother, like all of that, and those worlds kind of colliding as she tries to balance those two aspects of her life. Usually, because I am talking about it, sadly, news came out earlier this week. I think the news broke Monday that sadly the CW has canceled Stargirl. So this current season is going to be its final season. Because normally I don't talk about shows when they are like in the process of being canceled. Usually it's after the fact, because usually it's like maybe at the end of a season that news about that will end up coming out. So that's usually when I'll make a video like this. But because like the new episode actually airs tonight, a new episode airs tonight at the time I'm recording this, and I'm really bummed to hear that because I really thoroughly enjoyed this show, and I already knew that was still something that was a strong possibility, just because currently speaking, aside from this, there's only 2 other DC shows left on the CW, Superman and Lois, and The Flash. And The Flash is going into its ninth and final season, so there's that. But, it's not just the superhero stuff. Like, a lot of content on the CW has gotten canceled more recently. Like, once again, specifically, as people have said time and time again, the Axis Zaslav came swinging hard. So, even something like the upcoming season of Nancy Drew, for example, will be the final season. So, that's a whole conversation. But there is news that says that the writers kind of got, the creators and writers kind of got news like a couple months ago. So because of that potentiality, they ended up making this final season. It's all going to head towards a conclusive enough ending. So they had enough leeway to kind of change and adjust things to fit the fact that they promised to kind of give it a nice conclusion, which I think is nice. I hate that a show ends up ending off on like, oh, what ended up being the final episode, because I'm sure like the season probably would have naturally wrapped in a good enough place, but they probably will try and wrap up a lot of storylines. I just wish they had the breathing room to fully do that in regards of like, yeah, build up into a final season. In regards like if they had got one more season, knowing it was going to be the final season is different, So I am kind of bummed. I'm glad to know that they had time to like write everything so it will have a conclusive enough ending. I'm just bummed that it's ending in general, because I thoroughly enjoy this show and I think it's such a bummer. I think it's a culmination of many different things, not just like the state of where the CW is. Someone else is the owners of it and they're shifting the content on the channel and stuff like that because they're aiming for an older audience because they believe that being their audience that's kind of watching. It's a whole conversation. If you know what the CW's been going through, you know what the CW's been going through. So you know what those conversations. I'm sure like the whole merger with the whole Warner Brothers and Discovery probably doesn't help either. So, I mean, if I could have my way, I'd want the show to have at least 2 more seasons. Probably not even just 1, but because it's already at this point, I would want at least 1 more season. But if I had my way, I'd probably want it to go at the bare minimum 5. But knowing that this will probably be the end of it, because I was at least hoping, like, if it did get canceled on the CW, at the very least there could be 1 more season on HBO Max. But I don't know how much of, especially considering where the show started. It was originally a dual release of DC Universe and on the CW. So it is one of the, like, amongst the DC Universe shows that are still going. Titans is still going, Doom Patrol, Harley Quinn, Swamp Thing obviously got canceled, but this being like one of the 5, I was hoping that maybe it could join HBO Max along with Doom Patrol, Harley Quinn, and Titans, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, especially if they've written it in a conclusive enough way. I mean, it might be a thing of there's still enough story to tell that if they are given the opportunity, they could bring it back for a 4th season, but all of this feels like this is kind of the end, which is such a bummer because I thoroughly enjoy this show, and it's just kind of sad to see this kind of be the end. I mean, the conversation doesn't just stop here. I mean, we know that Titans is coming back for 4th season. In fact, its new season starts, I want to say tomorrow at the time you're recording this. So there's that. We don't know if this is going to be in for Titans. What about Doom Patrol? We know Harley Quinn's, well, we know Doom Patrol's next new season starts next month, I believe. Harley Quinn got renewed for a 4th season. Then there's the Superman and Lois of it all. Like, yes, it's coming back for its 3rd season. And if it does get a 4th season, will it get moved to HBO Max or will it get the Axe 2? I have no idea. It's just kind of a sad situation. Like I said, at the very least, we are getting a conclusive enough ending, but I would still wish the show had at least 1 more season. I'd wish for 2, but at the bare minimum, just give me 1 more season. But, it's just how it is. So, like I said, I wish this show could get a second chance, but I don't know if it will. It just seems like conclusive at this point, but we'll just have to keep an eye on the situation. Really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.